travel cube hummed with a low vibration as it touched down on the smooth white tiles of the Grand Priest's palace. The landing was soft. There was no bump. It was like a feather landing on water. The transparent walls of the cube dissolved into particles of blue light. The cool air of the world of void hit the faces of the warriors. It felt clean. It felt safe. After the suffocating pressure of the golden void and the terrifying darkness of the void tower, this air felt like the sweetest perfume. Gohan stepped out first. He took a deep breath, his lungs filled with the oxygen. He stretched his arms. His muscles were stiff. Even though Zalama had healed his physical wounds, his mind was still tired. He felt heavy. The golden mark on his chest was warm under his gi. It felt like a small sun was resting against his skin. It was a comforting heat, but it was also a reminder that he was marked by a dragon god, a reminder that he had a job to do. Goku walked out next. He was supporting Lord Champa. The god of destruction from Universe 6 was awake, but he was very wobbly. His legs looked like jelly. He was leaning heavily on Goku's shoulder. Champa looked around the palace. He saw the giant floating pillars. He saw the infinite nebula in the sky. He saw the Grand Priest standing at the top of the stairs. Champa let out a long sigh. He whispered, "I never thought I would be happy to see this place. Usually, I hate coming here because I get yelled at. But today it looks like home." Vado stepped out behind them. She tapped her staff on the ground. A spark of magic cleaned the dirt and soot from her green robes. She looked at Champa with a small smile. She said, "Come now, Lord Champa. Do not be dramatic. You are safe. You need to eat something to restore your mass. You look dangerously thin." Champa's eyes lit up at the word eat. He stood up a little straighter. He shouted, "Food! Yes, I need food. I need a banquet. I need 10 pizzas and a mountain of pudding. My stomach is touching my backbone." Vegeta walked out with his arms crossed. He looked at Champa with annoyance. He said, "You just survived a cosmic horror, and the first thing you think about is pudding. You truly are related to Kakarot." Goku laughed. He patted his stomach. He said, "Hey, I'm hungry too, Vegeta. Fighting creates an appetite, and we fought a giant hand. That takes a lot of energy." Kirin and Hit walked out last. They were silent. They stood apart from the group. They were looking at the Grand Priest. They knew that the debriefing was going to be serious. They had won the battle, but the war was getting worse. Kamba was evolving. The Grand Priest walked down the stairs. He did not walk like a normal person. He seemed to glide just an inch above the floor. His hands were clasped behind his back. His face was calm, but his eyes were serious. He looked at each of them. He looked at Goku. He looked at Vegeta. He looked at Jiren and Hit. And finally, he rested his gaze on Gohan. He looked at the spot on Gohan's chest where the mark was hidden. The Grand Priest said, "Welcome back, warriors. You have done the impossible. You have entered the domain of the Dragon God and returned with his blessing. You have saved a universe and a god of destruction. For this, you have my gratitude." He bowed his head slightly. It was a rare gesture of respect from the Father of Angels. Champa stumbled forward. He fell to his knees in front of the Grand Priest. He said, "Grand Minister, it was awful. That monster Kamba. He put tubes in me. He drank my energy like a milkshake. You have to destroy him. You have to send the angels. Send everyone." The Grand Priest looked down at Champa. He raised his hand. A table appeared next to Champa. On the table was a feast. There were roasted meats and fruits and breads. The Grand Priest said, "Eat, Lord Champa. Rest. We will discuss strategy soon. But first you must recover. Your existence was almost extinguished." Champa didn't wait. He grabbed a chicken leg and started eating. Tears of joy ran down his face. The Grand Priest turned to Gohan. He said, "Walk with me, Gohan. We need to talk about your new gift." Gohan nodded. He followed the Grand Priest. They walked away from the group toward the edge of the palace platform. They looked out into the endless void. The stars were twinkling in the distance. Each star was a universe. The Grand Priest spoke softly. He said, "Do you feel it?" Gohan asked, "Feel what?" The Grand Priest said the connection. The mark of Zalama is not just a shield. It is a doorway. It connects you to the fundamental laws of reality. Zalama is the creator of miracles. By marking you, he has made you a candidate for something greater than a destroyer. Gohan touched his chest. He said, "Zalama told me that Kamba is building an army. He said I need to prepare." The Grand Priest nodded. He said, "Yes. Kamba has retreated to the deep void. The deep void is a place where light cannot exist. It is below the multiverse. It is the basement of reality. Down there, Kamba is changing. When you cut off his hand, you forced him to adapt. He's no longer just a creature of shadow. He is becoming a creature of crystal." Gohan asked, "Crystal?" The Grand Priest explained. He said, "Shadow is amorphous. It can be dispersed by light. But crystal is solid. It refracts light. It bends light. Kamba is hardening his soul. He is turning his void energy into a physical armor that cannot be broken by normal means. If he returns as a crystal god, then energy blasts will not hurt him. They will just bounce off." Gohan frowned. He remembered how his punches felt against Kamba's hand. It was like hitting a wall. If his whole body became like that, he would be invincible. Gohan said, "So, how do we stop him?" The Grand Priest turned to look at Gohan. He smiled a small, mysterious smile. He said, "We need a breaker. We need a force that does not rely on technique or magic. We need a force of pure physical destruction. We need a monster to fight a monster." Gohan thought for a moment. He said, "You mean Jiren?" "Jiren is really strong." The Grand Priest shook his head. He said, "Jiren is strong, but he is disciplined. His strength comes from his mind. We need something wilder. We need a power that grows infinitely with rage. We need the legendary Super Saiyan." Gohan's eyes went wide. He said, "Broly." The Grand Priest nodded. He said, "Yes, Broly. He's the new ally I spoke of. He's currently on the planet Vampa in Universe 7. He's living a peaceful life, but his potential is limitless. If we can teach him to channel his power without losing his mind, he could be the hammer that cracks Kamba's crystal armor." Gohan smiled. He liked Broly. He had only met him briefly, but he knew Broly was not evil. He was just misunderstood, and he was incredibly strong. Gohan said, "I will go get him. I will bring him here." The Grand Priest said, "Good, but be careful. Broly's power is reactive. If he senses your new god power, he might view you as a threat. You must approach him as a friend." Gohan nodded. He turned to leave, but the Grand Priest stopped him. The Grand Priest said, "One more thing, Gohan. The mark on your chest. Do not let it consume you. Zalama tests those he blesses. If your will falters, the dragon fire will burn you from the inside out. You must stay true to yourself. Remember why you fight." Gohan clenched his fist. He said, "I fight for my family. I won't forget." Gohan walked back to the group. Champa was stuffing his face with cake. Goku and Vegeta were arguing about who hit the golden avatar harder. Gohan said, "Hey Dad, hey Vegeta, we have a mission." Goku looked up. He swallowed a piece of bread. He said, "Really? Already? I'm still hungry." Gohan said, "We are going to Vampa. We are going to recruit Broly." Vegeta stopped eating. He wiped his mouth. He looked serious. He said, "Broly, that uncontrollable berserker, are you crazy? If he snaps, he will destroy the palace." Gohan said, "We need him, Vegeta." The Grand Priest said Kanba is turning into crystal. We need Broly's raw power to break him. And besides, Broly deserves a chance to help. He is a Saiyan too. Vegeta grunted. He crossed his arms. He said, fine. But if he goes crazy, I am blasting him into the sun. Goku grinned. He said, awesome. I haven't seen Broly in a while. I wonder if he got stronger. I bet he is super strong. Whis tapped his staff. He said, I will transport you. Vampa is quite far away. The group gathered around Whis. Jiren and Hit stayed behind. They needed to return to their own universes to prepare their defenses. Jiren had to check on the Pride Troopers. Hit had to help Vados restore order to Universe 6. Whis tapped his staff on the ground. A beam of light enveloped Goku, Vegeta, and Gohan. They shot up into the sky and vanished. They traveled through the cosmos. The stars blurred into streaks of light. In a few minutes they arrived in Universe 7. They slowed down and approached a desolate planet. It was yellow and green. It looked sickly. It was planet Vampa. They landed on a rocky plateau. The wind was blowing hard. It was a hot wind full of dust. There were giant spider creatures crawling in the canyons. Gohan looked around. He said, this place is harsh. I can see why Broly is so tough. Suddenly, a small green creature ran out from a cave. It was Chile. She was holding a blaster gun. She pointed it at them. She shouted, hey, who are you? Stay back. Then she saw Goku. She lowered the gun. She sighed. She said, oh, it's you. The guy who gave us the house. Goku waved. He said, hi, Chile. Is Broly home? Another figure walked out. It was Lemo, the old orange alien. He looked tired. He said, Broly is training. He is always training. He is over there by the crater. They looked toward a large crater in the distance. They could hear loud crashing sounds. Boom, boom, boom. They flew over to the crater. Inside they saw Broly. He was shirtless. He wore his green pelt around his waist. He was fighting a giant monster. It was one of the Vampa beetles. The beetle was the size of a bus. Broly was in his base form. He was not glowing. He grabbed the beetle by its horn. He lifted it up. He threw it across the crater. The beetle crashed and ran away, scuttling into a hole. Broly panted. He wiped sweat from his forehead. He had a scar on his face. He looked wild, but his eyes were gentle. He looked up and saw the visitors. He tensed up. He recognized Goku and Vegeta. He took a step back. He remembered the pain of their fight. He remembered losing control. Goku flew down slowly. He held his hands up. He said, hey Broly, it's okay. We aren't here to fight. We brought snacks. Goku pulled a capsule out of his pocket. He threw it. Poof! A pile of food appeared. Pizzas, burgers, sushi. Broly looked at the food. His stomach growled. He looked at Chile, who had followed them. Chile nodded. She said, it's okay, Broly. They are friends. Remember. Broly walked over slowly. He picked up a slice of pizza. He sniffed it. He took a bite. His eyes widened. He smiled. He ate the whole slice in one bite. Gohan walked up to Broly. He extended his hand. He said, hi, Broly. I'm Gohan. I'm Goku's son. Broly looked at Gohan. He sensed something different about this one. Gohan didn't feel like a fighter who wanted to hurt him. He felt calm. He felt like water. Broly shook Gohan's hand. Broly's hand was huge and calloused. Gohan's hand was firm. Broly said, Gohan. Gohan smiled. He said, yes. Listen, Broly, we need your help. There is a bad guy coming. His name is Kanba. He is very strong. He wants to destroy everything, even this planet, even Chile and Limo. Broly's expression changed. He looked at Chile. He looked protective. He growled low in his throat. He said, no, destroy. Gohan said, exactly. We want to stop him. But we can't do it alone. We need your strength. Will you come with us to train? We can teach you how to use your power without hurting yourself. Chile stepped forward. She said, "Wait a minute. You want to take him to war? He just started living a normal life. I won't let you use him as a weapon." Vegeta stepped in. He said, "Woman, listen. If Kanba wins, there will be no life, normal or otherwise. The universe will be erased. Broly is a Saiyan. Fighting is in his blood. He cannot hide here forever." Chile looked at Vegeta. She knew he was right, but she didn't like it. She looked at Broly. She asked Broly, "What do you want to do?" Broly looked at his hands. He looked at the sky. He felt the power inside him. It was always there. It was like a sleeping volcano. He was afraid of it, but he was more afraid of losing his friends. Broly said, I want to help. I want to protect." Gohan nodded. He said, "That is a good answer." Whis tapped his staff. He said, "Wonderful. Then let us depart. We have much work to do." They all gathered together. Even Chile and Lemo came along. They didn't want to leave Broly alone. Whis transported them back to the palace. When they arrived, Broly was amazed. He had never seen anything so clean. He looked at the floating pillars with wide eyes. The Grand Priest was waiting. He looked at Broly. He nodded. He said, "Yes, this is the one. The raw potential is staggering." The Grand Priest clapped his hands. He said, "Now we begin the final phase of preparation. We will split into teams." He pointed to Vegeta and Goku. He said, "You two will train with the Whis inside the staff dimension. You must perfect your synergy. You fight well individually, but you step on each other's toes. You must learn to fight as one unit." He pointed to Broly. He said, "You will train with me. I will teach you mental fortitude. I will teach you to build a dam for your river of rage." Then he pointed to Gohan. He said, "Gohan, you will not train with a partner. You must go to the chamber of reflection. You must master the dragon mark. You must learn to unlock the power of Zalama at will." Gohan nodded. He watched his father and Vegeta leave with Whis. He watched Broly walk away with the Grand Priest. He felt a little lonely, but he knew this was necessary. Gohan walked to a door on the far side of the palace. It was a heavy wooden door with ancient carvings. He opened it and walked inside. The room was pitch black. There was no floor. There was no ceiling. He was floating in nothingness. Gohan sat down in a meditation pose. He closed his eyes. He focused on his breathing. He focused on the mark on his chest. Ignite. He pushed his energy into the mark. The golden circle glowed. Suddenly, he was not in the dark room anymore. He was in a mindscape. He was standing in a field of fire. But the fire was not hot. It was golden. In front of him stood a figure. It was himself. But this version of Gohan was made of pure white light. It had no face. The light. Gohan spoke. It said, "Why are you here?" Gohan said, "I want to master the power." The light Gohan said, "Power is heavy. Can you carry it? Can you carry the fate of the multiverse without breaking?" Gohan said, "I have to." The light. Gohan charged at him. It threw a punch. Gohan blocked. The impact shook his soul. They started to fight. It was a mental battle. Every time Gohan doubted himself, the light Gohan got stronger. Every time Gohan worried about failing, the light Gohan hit harder. Gohan realized that the enemy was his own anxiety. He was afraid. He was afraid of Kanba. He was afraid of letting everyone down. Gohan took a deep breath. He accepted his fear. He said it is okay to be scared. Fear makes me careful. He caught the light Gohan's fist. He looked at the faceless figure. He said, "I am not perfect, and that is my strength." He punched the light Gohan in the chest. The figure shattered into light particles. The particles flowed into Gohan. He felt a surge of understanding. He felt the dragon marks synchronize with his heartbeat. He opened his eyes in the dark room. He was glowing gold. He had taken the first step. Meanwhile, in the training grounds, the Grand Priest was training Broly. Broly was in his Super Saiyan form. His hair was yellow. His eyes were blank. He was roaring. He was trying to attack the Grand Priest. The Grand Priest stood with one hand behind his back. With the other hand, he was gently deflecting Broly's attacks. He was not using force. He was using softness. The Grand Priest said, "No, Broly. Do not push the anger out. Pull it in. Compress it. Make it a diamond." Broly screamed. He fired a green energy blast from his mouth. The Grand Priest caught the blast on his fingertip. He spun the blast around and sent it flying into the sky. The Grand Priest said, "Look at me. Breathe." Broly looked at the Grand Priest's calm eyes. He tried to mimic the breathing. In, out, in, out. Slowly, Broly's eyes regained their pupils. His hair stayed yellow, but his aura calmed down. He was maintaining the form without losing his mind. The Grand Priest smiled. He said, "Good, very good. You are learning fast." Days passed, or maybe weeks. Time was fluid in the world of Void. The warriors trained without stopping. They ate senzu beans to recover and kept going. Goku and Vegeta were bruised and battered. Whis was not going easy on them. He was making them fight while tied together with a rope of energy. They had to move in perfect sync or they would trip. At first they fell a lot. They yelled at each other. Vegeta shouted, "Stop moving, left Kakarot." Goku shouted, "You're too slow, Vegeta." But eventually, they found a rhythm. They stopped talking. They started sensing each other. When Goku ducked, Vegeta punched. When Vegeta blocked, Goku kicked. They became a whirlwind of blue energy. Finally, the training period was over. The Grand Priest called them all to the main hall. They gathered together. They looked different. They looked sharper. Goku and Vegeta stood side by side. Their energy felt like one large wave instead of two small ones. Broly stood tall. He was in his base form, but his eyes were clear and focused. He looked confident. Gohan walked in last. He looked calm. The golden mark on his chest was visible through his torn gi. He radiated a divine pressure that made even Goku sweat a little. The Grand Priest nodded. He said, "You are ready." And just in time, the central crystal ball in the room began to beep. It turned red. An image appeared on the screen. It was the deep void. The darkness was swirling. And then something emerged. It was an army. But not an army of shadows. It was an army of crystal. Thousands of ships made of jagged purple crystal were rising from the depths, and leading them was a massive flagship. It looked like a floating cathedral of glass, and standing on the bow of the ship was Kamba. He had changed. He was no longer covered in fur. His entire body was encased in dark purple crystal armor. His severed hand had grown back as a giant claw of diamond-hard energy. His hair was crystallized into sharp spikes. His eyes were two burning red stars trapped in glass. He was the crystal void god. Kamba raised his hand. He pointed at the multiverse above him. He spoke. His voice sounded like glass breaking. He said, "The incubation is over. I am hardened. I am unbreakable. Now I will shatter the gods." The crystal ships fired their engines. They shot up toward the universes. They split up. One fleet headed for Universe 7. One fleet headed for Universe 11. One fleet headed for Universe 6. Kamba himself headed straight for the Grand Priest's palace. The Grand Priest looked at the warriors. He said, "He is coming here. He wants to decapitate the leadership." Gohan stepped forward. He clenched his fists. His silver aura flared up mixed with the golden dragon light. Gohan said, "Let him come. We are the wall he will break against." Vegeta cracked his neck. He turned Super Saiyan Blue evolved. He said, "I have been waiting to punch something brittle." Goku turned Super Saiyan Blue. He adjusted his wristbands. He said, "Broly, you ready?" Broly nodded. His eyes turned yellow. He powered up. His green aura exploded. He said, "Ready." The Grand Priest said, "To your stations. Defend the palace. Defend existence." The sky above the palace tore open. The crystal ships arrived. They blocked out the nebula. They began to fire purple lasers at the palace shield. Boom, boom, boom. The shield shimmered. Kamba jumped from his ship. He fell like a meteor. He crashed onto the main platform of the palace. The tiles shattered. He stood up slowly. He looked at the heroes. He smiled, a jagged crystal smile. Kamba said, "Which one of you wants to die first?" Gohan walked forward. He stood 10 feet away from Kamba. Gohan said, "None of us. We are sending you back to the pit." Kamba laughed. He raised his crystal claw. The final battle had begun. Stay tuned for the next episode. The Crystal War, Broly Unleashed, the power of the Dragon Mark. The episode ends with a shot of Gohan and Kamba rushing at each other. Gohan's fist glows with purple destruction. Kamba's claw glows with white void energy. They collide in the center of the screen. The screen cracks like glass.